right, welcome into a Vegas Squares Snippet. We are here in studio discussing news that came down the wire that the potential successor for Tom Brady was at one point going to be Baker Mayfield. I'm sitting here in studio with Anthony. Anthony, are you buying this report that Mayfield's agent, Jack Mills, said on a podcast that New England was going to trade with the Giants to move all the way up to number 2 if the Brownies didn't take Baker?
Absolutely not. And here's my logic behind it. It's the Patriots. They're not going to trade unless if they really think they have the real deal here and that they absolutely are 100% certain that they're going to have a quarterback in the probably next year or two.
Well, let me play devil's advocate with that because I tend to agree with you, but I'll stand on the other side of the fence. You know, how much time do they really think that Brady's got left in real terms, not TB12 method terms, to where if you believed that you needed to make a move, an unprecedented move in Bill Belichick's world, which still is unprecedented because he didn't actually make the trade, if you had any interest in this guy, because Baker Mayfield's not some new kid on the block, he's been around college football for the better part of 3+ years. You know, if your intentions were to get rid of Brady and make a move for a Baker Mayfield type, why didn't you not keep Jimmy Garoppolo at that point, right?
Because they probably weren't sure that he was going to be the quarterback of the future, and plus, I'm sure he was getting antsy just sitting on the bench. So,
but do you think Belichick? I mean, because there's always that rumor that Belichick was like, you know what, Kraft won't let me trade Brady, so fine, screw you. I'll ship out the rest of the prospects, Garoppolo and Brissett, and now he sits there and looks and says, oh shit, what have I done?
Yeah, in my mind, for the Patriots moving from all the way up from 23 to 2, it would have taken a lot for the Giants
absolutely.
to...
I mean, they had 2 first-round picks. They had their first-round pick, which was 31. They
had 2 second-round picks as well.
Right. I think it would have taken all of that because I think Gettleman's not an idiot, the new GM of the New York Giants.
If anybody wins out of that trade, in my mind, it's definitely New York.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's not something Belichick and Kraft would do, is let another team win in a trade situation. So,
I mean, I don't know. I can see what you're saying with that situation. Just something they've never done is actually make a move up. I mean, they've traded up in small doses over the last 18 years, but they've never moved. You know, if let's say that the 31 was their original pick, so they're moving 29 spots in a draft to take a guy who's undersized. You know, he's kind of got the Tom Brady story. You know, the walk-on who's just done it. You know, against all odds at every level at this point, win the Heisman, etc. You know, now be the number 1 pick. It just. His personality, to me, doesn't fit the Patriot way.
Yeah, and plus, who knows? I mean, maybe the Patriots are like, maybe he's just going to sit on the bench and they'll take like a second-round pick for him in the future or something.
Well, I think Bill's seen the writing on the wall for a couple of years. As much as TB thinks he's going to play till he's 45 years old, that's looking less and less likely with each time he gets socked in the jaw. But to me, I look at this situation with the agent, Mills, and everybody's, you know, all the pundits been saying, you know, Baker Mayfield was not the right choice at number 1. Me personally, like I said, you know, with an NFL draft, it's not an exact science. The book will be out for 2-3 years. He's in a good spot where he doesn't have to play right away because Tyrod's, you know, a capable enough quarterback. But why, if you're Jack Mills, do you keep having to justify your client being taken number 1? And by saying, oh, well, the Patriots, the gold standard franchise, we're going to do this deal. I mean, to me, it seems like a bad move by his agent.
I think it is. I think it's more for publicity and all that, and that maybe to hype up his career in Cleveland or wherever it may be.
Well, even if they were considering moving up to take your client, and that turns out to be true, whether they admit it or whether somebody else, who with knowledge of the source or with knowledge of the subject comes out and says, yes, that is the case. If your client doesn't spend his entire career in Cleveland, teams are going to remember this. You can't keep your mouth shut when we're trying to make deals that, because the draft is the ultimate hush-hush and smokescreen kind of thing. You don't want to tip your hand as to what you're doing.
It's supposed to be like hidden behind a magic curtain or something until it officially reveals.
Right, and Patriots did what the Patriots do. They ho-hummed and they took a guard, and their big splash was taking a running back for the first time in over a decade.
Yeah, especially in the first round.
So,
but I think he's going to be a good fit behind that offensive line that they kind of pieced together. So,
I just find it really hard to believe this agent going on a podcast. I know that he did it. I find it's hard to believe that what he said is factual. I can understand if, I can understand if the Patriots had talks, but to the level of seriousness or to the degree of actual, execution, I don't know if I buy that if Baker didn't go past Cleveland at 1, that the Patriots were going to make a move they've never made, at least in the last 20 years as a franchise.
Yeah,
to grab a guy who many believed out of the 4 top prospects that went in the top round was number 3 or number 4.
Especially if you have probably the best GM and the best coach in that war room to back each other up. And one of them probably would have smacked the other one right in the face if they probably would have talked about it.
Well, considering the GM and the coach in New England is the same guy.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so...
either Kraft was smacked Belichick in the face was like, what the fuck are you thinking? Or Belichick would have been like, what the fuck are you thinking, Kraft?
Well, Belichick's already getting some flack for... If you believe, his benching of Malcolm Butler or their performance in the Super Bowl falls on Belichick, he's getting flack one way or the other, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. God forbid he moves 29 spots up to take a guy and who he may end up effectively having to force out Tom Brady, because it's going to take an act of God to get Brady out of there as long as he's still playing well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you end up being the guy who forces out Brady and then you traded up to get Baker Mayfield and he doesn't work out, and you got rid of Garoppolo, Belichick could really shit on his legacy. Now, maybe he doesn't care, I don't know, but I have a hard time believing he doesn't see or know, the writing on the wall with what's going on in the last 18 months between Garoppolo, Brady, and Belichick and Kraft.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's a game of Foursquare and somebody's going to come out alive almost.
Right, so we'll have to keep an eye on this because I'm obviously awaiting word from the Patriots organization as to their response to this whole, Mills jibber-jabber jargon that he's come out with. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll talk about that in another snippet. So we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.